It is a little
It
bit
is.
kind of, I don't want to call it slick, but it because it's so still crudely made, but like it doesn't have as similar as like a gritty look. It has more of that like later into the 80s, everything kind of looked like a, sort of like a pop music video or something like that. Like that's kind of more, it's just also these guys never made a music video, so they have like no rhythm or pace to really much of anything. But I mean, even has an 80s new wave like hair metal theme song to it, that almost feels like straight out of like Miami Connection or something like that, with like Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, and that kind of shit is like rad. I love all that stuff. It kind of also reminds me of like when they did, maybe this was the late 80s, I thought it was the early 90s, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, just that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that's 90s, baby.
Yeah. And okay, and speaking of just like how they're pacing things and their control of that. See, we're like just praising the long fight because that's actually really fun. It's full of gags. It's just it's so long too, but I never got tired of it. I wanted
it's like
it to
a
keep
20-minute long opening sequence.
Yeah.
And at the very least, it does set up like, hey, there is going to be a bit of a story here. There is this antagonistic force of Apocalypse Inc., this like chemical conglomerate run by this evil chairman played by Rick Collins, and he's the one doing stupid shit like sending him a fake PUS instead of UPS delivery driver, and it's like carrying a box obviously containing a ticking time bomb that he like hands to the girlfriend and then machine guns down an old woman, blind woman in a fucking wheelchair. And like I will say, the opening 20 minutes I was like, oh, maybe this is like better than
I'm on board,
the reputation it has. And then then I was like, oh no, we're going to Japan.
And this is, and here's the thing too, though, even before you get to Japan, it's like the opposite of why I don't like his pacing is like when you get to the CEO layer, the corporate layer, and you have all of the people. Now, don't get me wrong, some of the individual shots of the henchmen saying all the evil things they're doing, they have their kind of like individual special little trait that they do or like performance.
No,
and
you're
that's fun,
1,000,000% right. This was the first joke. This was the first joke where I went, oh, you definitely probably could have got away with doing this. Like two guys spoke up and said something, and it would have been a good joke
or something.
It would have been a good joke if it was just two. But the fact that like 12 different people get up, and because for like it's kind of a funny joke. Like the idea of having like essentially a bunch of like evil chemical company like henchmen basically in like a board of directors like crime family style meeting, which again sort of impressive jump in scale between films. This is a big set. This is a big like Dr. Evil style like layer that they're basically operating out of. And the first two guys who get up, like I actually did laugh at the guy who was like, we're dumping PCP into the ocean, and we're selling radioactive grenades to third world countries. And their whole point is that they're literally just destroying the earth so that I guess everyone will like, it's kind of like an early Elon Musk thing. Like everyone will have to come to us to like travel to space and like leave Earth if we destroy the Earth. Like that's the basic idea. And I literally stopped taking notes after that because I went, oh, it's just the same joke over and over again. There's 10 more guys who get up and do the joke. And I was like, the only other one I noted was the guy who's clearly doing De Niro's Satan character in Angel Heart with the long nails and like eating the eggs. I didn't understand why that was even in there, but I was like, okay.
I'm like, cool movie. I like that movie.
I recognize it.
It's like, so I totally picked up the same thing too. Like, so I did the same thing. I stopped taking notes and I just went, I really liked the long fight. I don't like this very much. Like it felt like it was just such a weird thing to have that example immediately after the great thing that was elongated. And then I do think that not only do they do that gag 12 times more than they need to, but then this is the same scene. They then show a highlight reel of the entire first movie so that you can get up to date. But which
we already got in the intro song.
Yeah, and you kind of even get it a little bit with his narration in the beginning when he's like introducing the town again and himself and whatever. And so it's just like, I don't know why we keep doing all this. It does truly feel like the almost like a director's cut or assembly cut where they're just throwing everything in there, no matter even if they're repeating it. And I don't understand why, because this movie should be, any movie like this your goal should probably be like a clean 90, and unless you have something more to say, maybe more gags, maybe you're actually going to dive into his character more somehow. I don't know how you would do that, but you could do it. And it just, I can't understand why they made this conscious choice to keep throwing everything at the wall.
Yeah, the fact
so
that they do the
recap
again, and we'll talk about the recap in the next one too, but like between the two movies, you probably have about 20 minutes minimum of literally just recapping footage from previous movies.
Yep.
And some of it, they're trying to make it almost like a meta joke, which kind of just pissed me off more, when they go, based on my knowledge from reel 2 of the original Toxic Avenger film, this is his weakness and this is how we can, we get that, like that's why they're introducing it in the villain layer, because it's Mona Malfair, played by Lisa Gay, who's kind of the sort of chairman, evil chemical company chairman's second in command, and she has this plan essentially that, look, he was a sort of skinny janitor and he got this traumatons were put in his body, and that was why he has all this power, and is why we can't take over New York, because we can't take over New Jersey, because he is the protector of New Jersey. And so they come up with this very vague plot of like, well, who knows tech better than anyone else in the world? The Japanese. So in Tokyo, they are building an anti-traumaton device, and for some reason they can't bring it to New Jersey, so we will have to get the Toxic Avenger to Tokyo. And that is the very loose setup for getting him to Tokyo, which they do by sort of infiltrating and manipulating his sort of personal life, which we get some sort of details about through his silly voiceover, essentially, that he, the Toxic Avenger feels kind of depressed and useless. He lives in this junkyard, and I will say the garden house that they built in the junkyard, the full like interior and exterior.